Hello and a very warm welcome to Strength Spotlight, powered by Strengths Masters. I'm your host, Sesha Sai, in short Sai, and I'm thrilled to have you with us for today's episode. The business case for strengths-based leadership beyond just an assessment. We often hear about StrengthsFinder or Clifton Strengths as a tool, but the real magic happens when organizations go beyond the assessment and embed strength into the very fabric of how they lead, collaborate, and grow. To explore this, I'm joined by two seasoned professionals, both of whom are not only Gallup Global Strengths Coaches, but also respected voices in leadership development with decades of experience between them. Okay. Welcome, Mr. Ravi Zaidu and Abhishek Joshi.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, Sai.
Sesh Sai. Thanks, Sai.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, let's get to know these two wonderful speakers and wonderful leaders, in a bit more. So, Mr. Ravi Zaidu, Ravi is the practice head at Strengths Masters and a certified Gallup Global Strengths Coach with over 30 years of leadership experience in sales, marketing, and P&L roles across industrial and automotive sectors. With 21,000 plus hours in coaching and consulting, he brings deep expertise in business transformation, strategy, and leadership development. A certified corporate director and SHL assessor, he has led 50 plus transformation projects and coached 100 plus senior leaders. Ravi has championed the strength movement across South Asia and co-created impactful programs under Strength Masters. His sessions are insightful, strategy-driven, and grounded in real-world business experience, earning lasting trust from the clients. Welcome once again, Ravi, and we look forward to uh, you know hearing some insightful views on this whole concept of building the business case, around strength-based leadership. Thank you once again for being with us today.
Thanks, Sai, for
Now, our next
inviting, and
speaker,
thanks for all these kind words.
pleasure all ours, sir. Now,
Yeah.
next speaker, Abhishek Joshi. Abhishek is the leadership practice head and a Gallup Global Leadership Practice Head at Strengths Masters and a Gallup Global Strengths Coach. He is one of the India's most passionate champions of strengths movement. With more than 20 years in the learning and development space and having coached leaders across 100 plus organizations, Abhishek brings a unique blend of strategic vision and practical tools. He believes strength-based leadership isn't just a model, but it's a mindset shift. And he's being instrumental in helping leaders make that shift stick. So, dear LinkedIn viewers, without any further delay, let's straight away dive into the conversation, a very insightful conversation with Abhishek and Ravi. Look forward. With the first question coming your way, Abhishek and Ravi. Now, the first question is, which is common, and anyone of you can take this. What's the biggest misconception you encounter about strength-based leadership in organizations?
Yeah,
Uh,
very.
um,
Yes.
you see that one of the issue is that people think that it is a feel good kind of a tool. You know, the outcomes that come are making you feel happy. You get to know about your talents, and that's about it. Uh, and it doesn't have any major business impact is another myth. Because of this. Now, the fact is that the reality is that it is a very clear business performance enhancer, which is grounded in science and backed by years and years of research and 50 plus years of studying the people who through this particular tool. They Gallup is, very confidently saying that it is something which can, make a significant impact in the people's engagement, people's performance, and people's collaboration with people, with others within the organization. So you can say that it is far more beyond just a feel good kind of a tool, and leads to people contributing very significantly within their organizations. Yeah, you'd like to add something, Abhishek,
No, no,
or like
absolutely.
to
I
say?
completely agree. And
Yeah.
a lot of people, I'll give you a bit of context. When we started expanding the movement of strengths in India, the primary reason for us to focus on strength-based leadership as a practice was when we started talking to a lot of leaders in organization, and they are some of the large organization, and we saw that they only understand very little about strength-based leadership or strength science as a practice. They look at it as a feel-good factor. I have identified my strengths, and I think the game is over. Likewise, there are so it's not a typical personality assessment tool. It is a tool which is, like Ravi said, which is backed by deep research, reliability, credibility, validity, and it is a real business impact tool. So once you start using it in the organization, it can impact some real business metrics like engagement, productivity, and other key business metrics like performance of a group. You can realign your organization based on that. So there are multiple tangible outcomes which you can get when you look at this, not just as a feel good process or tool or method. When you look at it, that how this tool can deliver, how this process can deliver, which starts with the tool and give you real time business outcomes in the organization. So that's my take on this.
Yeah. See, basically, the
Thank you.
research which
Yeah.
they have done, the research they have done encompasses studying a lot, many millions actually of leaders from different type of industry, from different type of cultures, and from different type of backgrounds. Uh, and they have studied as to how they think, feel, and behave. What is it that makes them succeed? What are the talents which they apply in their day-to-day working, which lead to a success for them in very significant manner? Even people like Simon Sinek and Deepak Chopra are the people who have taken this test and learned from it, and articulated their own approaches in life. So that is the kind of impact this particular tool has. So it is far beyond being just a feel good kind of a tool,
Yeah, absolutely.
and has
And just
demonstrated business performance results, engagement, collaboration, and so on.
yeah, and absolutely, Ravi, you spoke about Simon Sinek, and in fact, Simon Sinek, and I quote him. He says that why is good. Once you identify why, and Simon Sinek is known for start with why, but after why comes the most important element, and that is how. So your
Yeah,
strengths help you apply how, understand how. How
yeah,
will you do it? How
yeah,
will you apply yourself? And that makes
yeah,
all the difference. Because after why comes how, and devil lies in how execution and how you implement, apply yourself in achieving various goals in the organization.
yeah, yeah.
Great, great. Ravi and Abhishek, I guess, thank you so much for this wonderful. Some of the key points that emerged out of what you just mentioned is it's just not a feel good factor, and I especially like what Ravi said, that yes, this is because the moment you talk about behavioral assessment, we often we know that it's an inexact science, but as he said, and Abhishek, you also corroborated that to a large extent, that yes, this is backed by research, years and years of research. The norming has been done on a larger database, so it's credible, it's valid. I think all these things put together, and what I can also infer from this is that it's not that complicated. It's the most simplistic thing that any individual can do. Once you're aware of your strengths, how do you apply at your work, not just workplace but also in your personal life. Thank you so much. So that brings us, let's move on to the next question. Okay. uh, this again is common, Abhishek and Ravi. Any one of you can take this. How do you differentiate between using strengths as an assessment and using it as a true leadership philosophy?
Well, what you know, the limitation comes, or the issue comes up when you are treating it as just as a one-time event and done with it. Rather than articulating your strategies based on that, articulating your approaches based on the talents that you have found within yourself. Most of the time, people, do this, their top five, and then it gets filed away, rather than using it as a very, very, strong tool to create a difference in the way you approach your work, the approach society around you, the way you approach the whole ecosystem around you. So that is one major issue. You are actually not utilizing the potential that this tool has, for not only you but the people around you, for the organization that you work for. you know Beside this, what also people treat it as, that it is something which is just informative, not
Yeah,
transformative. The day you treat it as something which can transform you as a human being, from you being at particular level, from being becoming from good to great. That day you will start finding that there is a strong differentiation that you can make in the way you are treated. Yeah.
So absolutely, Ravi. So I've met so many people who have been fans of strength-based philosophy, and one question which I was able to address while talking to them is assessment and the report and everything is just the beginning. Therefore, it is a deep-rooted philosophy. If you look at uh, while the basic framework is understanding and starting with understanding strengths of the leaders in an organization, but after that comes four elements which are trust, stability, compassion, and hope. An entire strength based leadership philosophy is built on these four pillars. So what happens, as a leader, when you understand your strengths, the application comes that how will you apply your strengths in building trust, building stability, demonstrating compassion and hope. And also you will also get a lot of checkpoints that where are certain roadblocks, where are certain roadblocks due to certain areas which are now known to you, where the trust, stability, compassion, and hope are getting negatively impacted. So if you look at these four dimensions of this entire philosophy, and you think from a leader's point of view, if a leader starts understanding that, okay, how will a leader apply and impact these four areas: trust, stability, compassion, and hope. And the recent Gallup research says that hope is the most important factor that matters in leadership. Beyond trust, hope. If you look at a leader's job is to inspire people with a lot of hope. So this is a philosophical aspect. Now, and let me give you a practical aspect of how it is not an assessment and how it is a philosophy. So let's say, imagine an organization is going through this entire intervention, and a team of leaders goes through this entire intervention. They go through the assessment workshop, multiple one-to-one discussions with the coaches. So what happens, as a CEO, when I look at the team before and after, a CEO will have the most simplest data point available to him or her about the entire team, which are the strengths of the individual. And those strengths are applied in four domains, which domains are execution, influencing, relationship building, and strategic thinking. So let's say if I'm the CEO of the company and I'm looking at my CXOs or maybe CXO minus one, I'll be able to have a complete understanding that, okay, this is the knowledge and skills that these individuals bring in the organization, but that's how they apply. Someone can do excellent execution, someone can do excellent relationship building, someone can is great at strategic thinking. So it kind of gives very good understanding about a team dynamics to the entire organization. And it becomes very easy for them to drive with this new understanding with some data points about strengths of individual. It becomes really easy to drive them, work with them, assign them roles. So that's how this entire process works as a leadership development philosophy, not just as an assessment.
Yeah, great. That was great. Sai, actually, you also talked about embedding. How do you check whether it is embedded properly? I think some of the indicators are very clearly there in an organization that has evolved in using this particular tool and is, very actively, pursuing this particular philosophy. You will find that the strength language becomes a part of their daily conversation and dialogue. you know
Right.
the second thing you will find is that the teams are built with complementary talents.
Right.
Somebody has an achiever, he needs somebody who is analytical, and they complement each other, and that's how they produce a good result. You
Right.
will also find that the managers coach their people in the strength language, with the strength in the context. Now, if you find that these indicators are there, you can confidently say that the strength philosophy has got embedded into our organization.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I really like the way, Ravi, that you've really uh, simplified, the word embed. You
Yeah.
spoke about
Yeah.
the moment we start looking at each other through the lenses of strengths. Okay, the language changes.
Yes.
You know
Yeah.
you tend to start accepting people the way they are. Fantastic. I really,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
some of the key points for the benefit of our audience. Ravi, you said that from informative to transformative. In fact,
Sai,
I'm
Sai,
a
Sai,
great
just a
fan
moment. Sorry
of
to
this
disturb
book.
you. Sai, sorry to interrupt you. There is some disturbance from your end, from your mic, and I was not able to hear what you were saying. So
Uh,
maybe, yeah, it is
Disturbing
slightly
in
better
terms
now.
of, can you hear any
Yeah,
background
yeah.
voices? Any background
No, no,
noises?
we can hear the
Okay, is it
voices where
better? Is it
you are
better?
touching. Yeah, absolutely, slightly better. Sure. Please go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you, but I was not able to
Yeah, better?
hear you.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
So, no, certainly not. So I was referring to what Ravi said, Abhishek, for the benefit of audience when he said informative to transformative. That really sticks to me, particularly for, why? Because first of all, I'm a great fan of this book, Good to Great, and as they say, the biggest enemy of great is good. Similarly, the biggest
Yes.
enemy of becoming transformative is being informative. Okay,
Yeah.
and also Abhishek, you touched upon how strengths can impact positively or negatively the four dimensions of leadership, which is trust, stability, hope, and compassion. I guess these are and how strengths can be applied in the four application areas. So I guess these are some of the very, very vital key takers for audience. Anyway, so thank you very much for these insightful data points, Abhishek and Ravi. So let's move forward with the third question coming your way. Can anyone of you share a case where strength-based leadership directly impacted business outcomes, such as productivity, uh, such as retention or innovation? Any, if you could come up with any real-life success
Yeah.
story
Okay. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Mr.
Okay.
Zaidu.
that actually
Yeah.
connects strengths
Yeah.
to hard metrics. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So here is a gentleman who is the CEO of an organization, which is a medium-sized organization. And this gentleman has number one talent as a relator. Now relator are the people who believe in forming very close relationship with the people, and they take a lot of enjoyment in working hard with their friends to achieve a particular goal. But these are also the people who may have an issue that they are very close, they like very close knit friendships. They do not go out of that particular group of people. So as a result, people may say that they form cliques, they form their own influence of circle, and nobody can enter that. They find them that these are judgmental, and so on. Now, this gentleman had really that particular of an issue, but a very, very sweet person, very well meaning person, but highly misunderstood by his entire team because he was not very open, he was not very extrovert in going out and meeting people from his teams and so on. So sort of misunderstood. Although he has all the good intentions about everybody in his organization, he was very fair and not pursuing favoritism and so on.
Right.
So what really we did was that we thought that, okay, in spite of you being a good person, people don't perceive you to be approachable, reachable, and they find that there is a wall around, invisible wall around you, because of which they cannot connect with you. And this was happening in n-2 level the most. At n-1, there were about two or three people only who were his key people to decide strategy and action plans for the future. So with them, there was no issue. But n-2, there was certainly an issue. Now, what we started doing was that we thought that, okay, let us open this up a little bit.
Mm.
And, then the culture of certain town halls started. Culture of where this gentleman used to go, and after the town hall is over, he used to go and meet people deliberately and shake hands with everybody, do small talk, find out what are the challenges in their work which are happening, how he can help, and so on. The second was that he created cross functional teams within the organization. And in these cross functional teams, he was also one who would go and participate in between. Now, what really was happening behind the scene, which others did not realize, that it is that the major objective is for him to break that myth about him that he is not reachable.
Right.
And what really happened after that, people started accepting this person.
Yeah.
People ultimately found that it is not this person is like this, but at the core, he is a very nice person. He can be depended upon, and he can be trusted like Abhishek said about trust, compassion, stability, and hope. I wish actually, Abhishek, that we do one of these days a session, exclusively on these four traits of a leader. Sai, this is for you to remember. Okay. Uh, yeah.
Absolutely,
Then
absolutely.
yeah. Then there was a second case, where there was a leader who was very strong in communication. Now, this person had, the communication are the people who can put your thoughts into words. Some people struggle. There are some brilliant thoughts, but there is a problem with the expression with the right words. Okay. Also, they are very good storytellers, presenters, and communicators. The issue with sometimes with them, if they are not using it positively, is that they can be very poor listeners. They may completely dominate the discussion around the table. There will be very less opportunity for others to speak up. Now, fortunately, when we were having a session with this lady, she accepted that yes, there was a issue like this. And then, I had 3 sessions with her in every month each. We decided that next time when she conducts a meeting of her team people, you will deliberately try to see that you give opportunity to others for speaking. Let the ideas flow in from their side also. After the first month, when she came and met me, she found it, I'm finding it really, really difficult to keep quiet. You know, I'm finding it very difficult to, sort of not interject, not interrupt somebody while somebody is speaking. So I asked her, but did you do something here? Yes, she said, I was struggling, but I tried and I find the results are good. Within 3 months' time, this lady told me that I find the value of controlling that habit of completely dominating the discussion around the table, hearing, and I found that some very valuable suggestions came. In fact, the person who was her boss, she also told me that this person seems to have really, really transformed and is now on a transformation journey. So the thing is, whereas something can be your talent, something can be your strong point, but if you are not applying them correctly, it can become a disadvantage for you. And these two persons realized during these discussions with them, and they found significant result. In fact, I will go back to the first case which I told you. What really happened in this case is that they had to shift location. They were in one town. They bought a larger plot of land because the organization was growing in some other town. And the indicator how well the team, sort of engaged with the leader was that more than 85% of the people also shifted along with this leader, lock, stock, and barrel, to another new town, which has a totally different culture.
Right.
Noida to Baroda, you know. So that is the kind of transformation that can happen within an organization if applied correctly.
Absolutely. So I'll share a case
Fantastic.
study. We gave a case study where he worked with individuals and how it has been he has been able to create an impact, which is absolutely fantastic. And I'll talk about a case study of an organization. So we started working with an organization where the leader was leading a large group of 60 people, and which included the CXOs and CXO minus one. Now, what happens? Every organization has challenges related to productivity, retention, morale. These are not unique to a few organizations, but these are common challenges which leaders go through. But many times, what happens? The answer to solving certain challenges lies in the root causing and identifying the right enablers. So we met the senior leader of the organization, and we discussed the problem statement. And the problem statement was that why my team does not focus on people initiative, right? Why I always see the employee experiences scores low, why I see employee net promoter score low, why I see the attrition of my team is very, very high. While there is no problem in terms of delivering business results, they all are giving business results. But what happens, the speed at which we are leaking good talent from the organization, it can be a deterrent for us in long term. While I don't complain, while my at the end of the day when I see my team members delivering business results, I feel good about it. But what happens, I'm always concerned about, are these individuals capable? Of course, they are capable. Are these individuals ready to take the roles where they have to build an organization, and are they also building organization within the organization to be able to drive a sustainable growth? And if that is the case, then people metrics are very, very critical. How do I do the root causing, and how do I drive action from my team members? So that was the problem statement, and that's what we started with. So we started working with these leaders, and we said, okay, the first point is that we'll have to build trust with them, and the only way to build trust is using a non-threatening, non-prescriptive methodology, because these are experienced leaders. They all have 20, 21 years of experience of life and of work. So there has to be a non-threatening, non-prescriptive way of working with them. So we started with a workshop, and we took them through a strength-based leadership workshop. The idea was that establish differences are advantages, giving them data points about the different people, different departments, different strengths can still work together. That's the starting point. And we started working with them individually, created individual strength-based leadership action plans for them. When we looked at data, and we then had discussion with the leader of the organization, the data points surprised him, and also the data points which we presented were also kind of mirror to him, and what he was saying, it was validated with the help of data points. So what came out in the overall analysis, that all these 60 leaders are excellent in execution oriented strengths. They are excellent in strategic thinking. So what they think is a lot of data and action data. What they miss are two areas, which are influencing people by showcasing them bigger picture, and second, building relationship. In fact, none of the top 60 leader had empathy as a strength in their top five strengths. Now it was pretty obvious to the leader that why they are not taking self-driven people-oriented initiatives, because it doesn't come naturally to them. So what is the insight here? What is the action point, and how it changed for this organization was that the leader was completely became aware that okay, these are the individuals. They have very good execution-oriented strengths. So what they do is they maximize execution-oriented strengths. What they do is they are always accurate with their strategic thinking, planning, and that's the reason they've been able to achieve outcomes. Now the action point was, the challenge was that what will happen, how will they drive people initiatives in the organization? So the key takeaway from this was that the people-centric initiatives have to be institutionalized within the organization. They can't be just ad hoc people-centric initiatives which are not linked to business outcome, performance metrics, and all that. So that's how they created the entire roadmap for the organization to drive institutionalized people-centric initiatives. Because idea was that allowing the leaders who are leading the organization what comes naturally to them, but also providing them support in those areas which does not come naturally to them. So this understanding actually led, in the long run, we implemented this program with them for 6 months, and after that also so let's say there were 60 people, so there were three batches, 20 20 20. We divided them into three batches. So we continued our engagement with them for approximately 18 months. During this time, we saw very clear impact in attrition data. We saw increase in employee engagement scores, employee experience score. Quarter by quarter, we saw improvement in the net promoter score, employee net promoter score. So these are clear. This is a clear case study and example of how an organization can transform its culture by using strength-based leadership as a core philosophy. And that's what I wanted to share. And Ravi was part of that project, and Ravi and I together uh, did that project. Yeah.
No, great, Abhishek and Ravi. I think very interesting points. Three key takeaways for me from this, basis the responses which came from Ravi and you, is one is strength-based leadership. Through strength-based leadership, the self-awareness levels goes high. If you are aware of your own strengths, not just your own strength, but also aware of your team members' strengths, you'll be able to identify the root cause, that okay, why a particular leader behaved in a particular situation in a behavior which is not usually accepted, and then you tend to make perceptions. That's one. Second is really, Abhishek, I write the point when you say that, okay, if an organization is trying to institutionalize the culture of trust, okay, strength-based leadership is one of the most non-threatening and the non-prescriptive ways to achieve that. And the way you guys linked it with the metrics, which is, and also, I also believe that this could be the data point that comes out of strength-based leadership. It can be used to come up with a very robust succession planning. I think
Yeah.
these are the key three. But of course uh, the output is, yes, it can be directly linked with the business outcomes, which is engagement scores levels going high, which is the current major challenge faced by all the organizations. Your employee productivity goes up, and of course, to a large extent, the retention, attrition levels also goes down. Thank you very much, for those wonderful insights, Ravi and Abhishek. Okay, moving forward, the fourth question is more or less related to the third one. What is the ROI of building a strength-based culture, and how can leaders measure it meaningfully? I think to a large extent, you guys. But if Ravi and Abhishek quickly, if anything addition, because I think a major part we've already covered in question three. But then yes, I'm gonna leave it. Yeah.
You see, Gallup strength-based philosophy delivers in five key areas, very very important key areas. Number one is engagement. Number two is performance. Number three is retention. Number four is customer satisfaction, and finally it is okay productivity. Now you imagine all five of them are measurable. When you are talking about employee engagement, there are employee engagement survey tools available to you. Productivity is a simple math that you do based on your performance and people available to you. The retention is again the same, is a data that is there with you. When it comes to performance, yes, you can directly link to the performance. And customer metrics is customer satisfaction, for which, like Abhishek said, net promoter score kind of a thing. So you can say there is all these five areas are very clearly measurable when you are talking about the impact of this philosophy on an organization. So the most important ones being the performance metrics, the people metrics, and the customer metrics. And also sometimes how much of the strength language is now been imbibed by the people within the organization. How much they relate with each other, how much they
Yeah.
complement each other's talents based on this. That is also something you can measure by thing. So that is how I feel the ROI can be measured. You know.
Sure. Sai, I have nothing to add.
Fantastic.
Ravi has
Abhishek, your
beautifully
quick take
covered.
on
And no, I have nothing to add. Ravi has beautifully covered, and I partly answered this in the previous answer.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sure.
great,
Thanks.
great. So fantastic. Okay. So let's move on. Now, Ravi and Abhishek, what do you think that what role does a manager or team leader play in activating their team's strengths daily?
Manager is a linchpin who can convert the whole experience from just being an insight to something which is an everyday affair within an organization. You know,
Right.
this is the role of the manager there. You know, from making it a feel good kind of a tool to something that has been applied on the ground and is creating transformation within the organization. So that is what I would like to say. Manager is
Thank
very
you.
important that way. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
that was a
So,
quick and a very precise, very crisp answer. Yeah, Abhishek,
Yeah.
please. Yeah.
sure. So, absolutely. So now, first of all, let me ask you why manager will not play a critical role here in driving the entire philosophy. If the manager is also given understanding of those tools, like Ravi said, a feel good tool, a manager will just use it like another language, some new
Yeah.
jargons that we use in daily life. But let's say if a manager is aware, so when we work with organizations, Sai, what we do, we when we start scaling it in the organization, and when we go to managers level, we also enable managers in the sense that we create managers team strength grid, and we empower manager, educate manager that how will a manager use it in driving execution, relationship building, influencing, and strategic thinking. So when a manager is empowered with this understanding and how this tool or in their philosophy has to be used in increasing efficiencies, which lies in execution, influencing, relationship building, and strategic thinking, manager starts leveraging it really, really well. So it kind of, if a manager is empowered, it kind of makes a manager's job very, very easy. How easy? How does it make easy? So let's say if a manager who does not have understanding about all these things will still be doing a good job, maybe performing well. But let's say if a manager with understanding about these aspects will have a shorter turnaround time of taking a lot of decisions, a shorter turnaround time of dealing with people's issues. So let's say if I'm a manager, majority of my bandwidth goes in dealing people issues, right? And if you look at a lot of managers often complain that I don't do what I am supposed to do. I'm always doing my team members' job, right? And then that's but so therefore if this can actually reduce a bit, and because majority time goes in people issues, delegating them correctly, assigning them to correctly, reviewing them correctly. So let's say if a manager has understanding about who is good in execution, therefore that person does not require a lot of tracking, and a lot of reviews and all. If a manager knows that this person is excellent in relationship building but requires my support in reviewing, so therefore a manager can channelize her energy absolutely beautifully by using this tool, and therefore can be a very, very great lever in making sure that the impacts created using this entire philosophy in the organization.
So manager
Great
actually is
points, Abhishek.
somebody
I
who
think,
has
yeah.
to create, who has to create conditions for an individual to see that he gets an opportunity to do what he does the best.
Right.
You know, so that is where. So for me, a manager is somebody like a talent spotter within an organization. What kind
Right.
of talent somebody is good at and giving opportunity, and
Hmm.
opportunity designer. If
Yeah.
there is no opportunity for him in his current work
Right.
to utilize his talents, how can manager create an opportunity by virtue of which he gets to use his best talents to become more effective?
Yeah.
Manager also is a very important role when it comes to the strengths philosophy. Is that is he also a culture shaper? you know so that the entire ecosystem starts embedding into the culture of creating a culture of the strengths, and finally being a very, very good coach for their people. I
Hmm.
think this is how the manager role comes up, when it comes in the context of the strengths.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Great, great. So I think, this calls for a big shout, big shout out to all the managers. I'm sure they will be listening to these views very, very keenly. Thank you so much, Ravi and Abhishek.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
let's move to the next question. Okay, now many companies do a strengths workshop and move on. Now, according to you, what's missing in that approach, and how can they make it sustainable? So I guess the sustainability is the key, and I'm sure our audience would love to hear your perspective on this.
Abhishek?
Thank you. So from an assessment to a one-day workshop, at least some progress is made from feel good to making an attempt to try and understand in more detail. So let's say, I mean, so it's good that even if an organization is taking an initiative to do starting with the workshop, it's good. But what happens, if you look at only from a workshop point of view, after that, people will have questions. What will I do? Because this is a very, very personalized approach. So let's say if you are doing it for a leadership group of an organization, they would like you to decode strengths in their context. They would like you to create an action plan based on their strengths. They would like strategies, suggestions from you about how to maximize strengths. Like I said, it's not a training program to complete fulfill the requirement. It is a strategic initiative which can help you increase efficiencies in the organization. So therefore, from an assessment, let's say in last 30 minutes we have come to workshop, good, good start, I would say. And a lot of organizations start with this and say that, okay, I want to start with this and let's see how it works. So at least, slightly better than that. But again, they are not looking at this as a strategic tool which can have a deeper impact in the overall productivity in the organization. So yeah, good start, but still not strategic. It's still at a very transactional level that I would like to say. Ravi, what's your take?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is sometimes that, when you are conducting a workshop, an excitement gets generated,
Yeah.
among the organization, among the individuals who have taken the test. They're very curious to know about their talents and all that. And they want somebody to decode it for them, maybe in the thing. But what really happens is that many in cases, there is no follow through after that.
Hmm.
There is no follow through, which leads to them being in the dark, and after some time the interest wanes into this particular. It becomes something which is to be filed, and never to return back. uh, and that a lot of time happens because the manager is not engaged with this particular philosophy. The manager is not fully committed to this philosophy, and as a result, you will find this is something, which you will find that in initial stages there is a lot of determination, focus, and perseverance required to from the manager's point of view, to see that, this takes roots. This becomes a habit. This becomes an agenda point, in every discussion. And
Right.
then you'll find that changes start happening. you know
Great, great.
in
So I think
in
it's all
great
about building it.
organization. Yeah, in great organization, you'll find that, it is so embedded that it becomes a part of every meeting. People start
Yeah,
talking to each other in the strength languages, and they people start collaborating and, complementing each other's strengths. And that's how, it happens in some great organization where it has become embedded.
Yeah. In fact, last year only, Ravi, and Sai, you also know about the organization. I'll not take the name, but I have huge respect for the business leader who initiated this entire intervention in the organization. And because it was business leader who was involved, who was aware about what kind of impact it will create, it is now scaling up in the organization, because that is what Ravi is saying. That is missing. Many times it is just it is like one, we have to do one leadership development program in this year. Let's do this. No, it is not like that. So last year, what happened? It came from business, and the business leader was absolutely clear. In fact, the business leader was the one who was leading the call, and he said, "Okay, I am aware about it. I know how it kind of impact it create. I'd like you to help my colleagues, who are from different departments, to understand how what kind of impact it will create, and we want you to do it that way." So with this alignment, so our intention, our understanding about how should we approach this philosophy, uh, I mean, it actually changed the entire approach of implementing the entire philosophy. And as an outcome, it is now scaling up. It is scaled up further. It will scale up this year in the organization. It's a large organization. It's not a small organization that we are talking about. Yeah.
Sai, I would like to add further here. It's a very interesting subject, and on one of the very critical questions that you have asked, Sai. The where is one of the gap areas? I find that organization go ahead with this without setting a very clear purpose in their mind. Why
Right.
are they doing this? Is it for improving engagement? Is it for improving retention? Is it for improving performance, and what? Once that purpose is clear, you then start breaking down all your initiatives in this particular strength philosophy in that particular manner. And that's how, when you start seeing the results, the organizations tend to pursue it further.
Right.
Else there is a gap.
fantastic, fantastic.
That's it.
So I guess it's all about building strategy rather than
Yeah.
strength strategy rather than treating it as a strengths event. So that's one of the. Okay, now I guess we are approaching towards the last few minutes. So quickly, let's touch upon one more question before we call it a thing. So okay, now have you seen a leadership team use strengths to solve a business problem? For instance, like a market shift, uh, say internal restructuring or low morale. So quick take, Ravi, from you, maybe as quick as possible,
Yeah.
because I think it's we've just less than
Yeah,
a
I'll go
minute.
in the reverse. I'll go in the reverse. I mean, you talked about low morale. Now here is a person. Let's assume there is a person who is not really, finding that he is giving his 100%, and so is the impression of his organization. Now this person gets exposed to this particular philosophy of strengths, and he identifies that these are my top 5 strengths. His managers also now understand that where he comes from, what are the areas in which this person excels. Now, if the manager understand this, if the person also understand this, then comes the next thing of creating opportunities for him to see where he can apply these strengths on a everyday basis.
Right.
And once he starts getting opportunity to apply it on a everyday basis, you will find that he starts getting small successes, and which multiply over a period of time. Now imagine what it will do to the person's confidence, person's whole body language, the way the person approaches result when he approaches the work, when he starts that because of these strength, he has started now producing some results, which are now not only making him happy, but his boss is also happy. Now, very direct impact on the morale of this individual, once that happens. And so far as the internal restructuring is concerned, there is something which Abhishek already mentioned about creating a team grid where you
Yeah.
have these 4 domains of strengths. All the 34 talents have been divided into those 4 domains: strategic, influencing, relationship building, and execution. Now, imagine a manager who has, say, about 20 reports directly under him. He creates a grid for him and he gets a picture of what is the construction of my team. I find that there are more people in executing. There are some in influencing, large in relationship, very few in strategic. Now, here is the opportunity for him to make them complement each other's strengths, help each other. There is somebody who is very good in data. A person who has analytical is very good in data, but has a fear of standing in front of a crowd. So he, collaborates with somebody who is a communication. The manager ensures that this happens, and similarly, there is somebody who's very good in empathy, and there is a conflict right now within the organization. Who's the person who is called upon to see what can be done to resolve this particular conflict within the organization? Now, these are the kind of outputs that you get, when you use this time. Abhishek would like to add.
No, I think I don't have anything to add. You have beautifully explained everything, Ravi, and thank you for sharing this.
So great, Ravi and Abhishek. I guess that brings us to the end of the podcast. I mean, we now with at least I have a lot of conviction, and I'm sure the audience that yes, there is indeed a business case, for as far as strength-based leadership is concerned. It's beyond just being an assessment. And a big shout out to her, and thank you very much for those wonderful insights, Abhishek and Ravi. I mean, I wish we would have continued more. And a big shout out to a wonderful audience for tuning in and keeping the energy alive. So until next time, keep discovering, keep developing and delivering your strength. This is Sai signing off. Stay strong and stay strengths focused. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Good day.
Sasha.
Good day to all
Thank
of
you,
you.
Ravi. Thank you, everyone, for joining
Good day,
us.
Sai. Thanks very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
bye.
you. Thank you.